What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we are now going to be in the final 3 Master S events here in the Super License category. Not going to lie, I would say these 3 here are probably going to be the most difficult for most of the players. In fact, I'm going to be 100% honest and say the Master S-8 was the one I had the most issues with doing. Don't get me wrong, guys, I'm not going to be a professional player or something, but I was definitely struggling on this one pretty dang bad for a while. It did actually take me, I think it was 2 days before I finally beat it. I was just kind of struggling on this track. I don't know if it's the track or me. Probably a little of both, and most likely me if I'm being honest. But there's a few things I did want to point out for this event specifically. So if you are wondering, yes, on my assist settings I am running manual. My TC's on 0. ABS is on default. Nothing is changed there. Also at my controller settings, nothing is different either on that aspect. The only thing I did end up doing differently on this one, though, is in ghost settings, instead of following my own personal ghost, I turned this off and turned on the demonstration ghost on this one. Funny thing is, I did end up doing this on the last 3 events because it helped me tremendously. The reason for that, though, is when I was using this, I was able to chase the demonstration ghost and go, okay, as long as I can keep pace with this ghost, I know I will end up beating this at least eventually. So I was practicing a bit, trying to figure out better lines and all that, and surely enough, guys, even on a pretty terrible run, I still did end up beating this by legitimately 0.028 seconds, or is it 0.18 seconds? Legit, even worse, actually. That's how far behind I was. Like, I was barely in gold, but I still managed to do it. So if you are struggling, try to use the demonstration ghost to chase that. I think that will help a bit. For this event, though, the biggest thing, though, is the CLK-LM is going to be an amazing car. In fact, the one place I remember this car from was going to be the original Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. Loved driving this car in that game. It was so dang fun to use. Now when using it in this game, I'm like, yo, this thing handles incredibly well. But I also had to get used to the braking aspect with it, which if you are wondering, with the CLK, you can actually brake a tad later with it compared to other vehicles. Yes, you could probably push it. Instead of like braking it maybe 250 meters, you could probably brake it like 150, maybe 50, depending on the corner and also the speed you are going. So it is going to be a big plus, but with that is also going to be more challenges though, because you can actually find yourself going slower in certain corners because you did end up braking a tad too early when you could be later in it. Again, this was something I was struggling with this car because I've never drove it, and I'm also not the best on this track, which I am going to practice on. There's going to be a few tight corners, making sure you get out of them at the right angle, keeping your speed up all the way. Keep in mind the last turn is also going to be a very tight S turn, which you can lose legitimately all your time in that corner, and also at the end if you do not come out of it correctly. The last corner, guys, the second part of that S corner, what I would recommend doing when going toward a B in first gear, shift it into second in it, and then basically ease on the throttle, then slam it down to get to the end of it. With that, with some practice, you will definitely end up getting gold in time, but I would even say with that, this is going to be a pretty difficult one that I definitely struggled with. If you have any questions at all, do let me know in the comments below. But here is the gold run I did end up getting on the Master S-8 Super License Test in the lovely CLK-LM.